Everybody okay over here?
We're good.
Well, this is exciting because we have not done anything sort of in person and on Zoom. Hang on just a second. I have to check somebody in, just a sec. We're just working it out as we go, in person and on Zoom. And I'm so glad to see all of you. And I envy you taking off your masks and sitting at home and relaxing, but it's pretty exciting trying both. And thank you for being here tonight. And I'm assuming that most of you know or have heard of Melanie in the past. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her in case you don't. Melanie Barnum is a psychic medium, intuitive counselor, life coach, and hypnotist who has been practicing professionally for more than 15 years. She was a VIP reader at Psych Out, a gathering of the nation's foremost psychics, organized by Court TV. Barnum is also an Angel Speak facilitator, a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, and the International Association of Counselors and Therapists. She has a practice in Ridgefield, lives here in Bethel, and I've known Melanie a very long time. Our bookstore opened 10 years ago, and we opened right over Molten Java down the street in 450 square feet 10 years ago. And when we opened, we were there for a couple years, and I went to Melanie when I tried to figure out what the next step was. So we moved up the street to next door to Verizon for 5 years, but she always saw us in our present location. It just hadn't burned to the ground and been rebuilt yet. Literally. This location had a fire in Bethel and they rebuilt the entire building. Melanie saw us here, but she saw us here before the last move, and I moved up to Verizon up the street. And I was kind of thinking, that building's really old and awful. The wiring's terrible. Everything's really bad. And I'm sitting there going, I just can't move there. I know I really respect the reading that I got and all of that, but there's no way. Well, as it turns out, she was right. It just hadn't happened yet. So it's one of the things that I felt very strongly about with respect to the workplace, because I trust her judgment. She herself is a business owner and has been in business for years. So her intuition allowed me to look at my intuition. So that's what tonight's all about. And without further ado, I welcome Melanie Barnum to the evening. Thank you, Melanie.
Thanks, Alice. I appreciate it. Hi, so we are live right now on Zoom, which is going to be a little interesting because we also have some people here live in person. So you're going to see that I'm going to be talking to you guys on Zoom, but I'm also going to be talking to our audience here. And I thank you guys for all braving the COVID storm and coming in, masks and everything. And I really appreciate that you were able to get here. We had a little technical difficulty in the beginning, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there. But the reason that it took us so long is because we were planning on doing it outside because it's beautiful outside here where we are in Connecticut. However, we didn't count on there being live music right next door outside. And we also didn't count on all of the traffic noise because unfortunately it's pretty loud out there. So we moved in at the last second and it took a little bit of time. So I appreciate you guys hanging in there and we're going to jump right into it. So the first thing better for me.
Hang on. Did you just lose Melanie? You just got lost.
Yes, we did. We missed that intro. We were out for, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds.
I unmuted her. You're good.
Can you hear me again?
Yes, now we can. Thank you. Well, we missed your beginning.
So
Thank
ladies that are here, apologies for all the difficulties, and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. So essentially, if you can hear me again, what I was saying is that I have been in business for a long time. I've been doing psychic medium work for over 20 years now, but I've also been writing books for an awful long time. And again, this is my 8th book, and it just came out. And the reason that I wrote Intuition at Work is because everybody that comes to me not only wants to know about their family and their love life and their health, they want to know about their careers and their jobs, and how can they use their intuition at work, and how can they use it for them to make it better for them at work. And I always say, and I know you guys have probably heard this before, if you love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. And the reason is because it doesn't feel like work anymore. So if you can get to that place, that feels really good, and you can discover what makes you tick and what makes you happy while you're working, then you're going to feel like you're home, and it's always going to feel good to you. So one of the best ways to do that and get ahead in business and in life is to practice. So what we're going to do today is a little bit of practice, a little bit of fun. And you could do this at home, whether you're on the Zoom session or whether you're here in person. If you're here in person, you're going to be able to use each other. If you're at home, or if you're Zooming in to see us, then you're going to be able to do it by yourself. So, like I said, I am going to kind of go over some of the stuff that's in the book and give you some exercises that we're going to play with, that you're going to be able to do by yourself and with other people. One of the reasons that I wrote Intuition at Work is because I kind of decided that we needed to start leveraging our intuition. And by leveraging our intuition, we can get ahead. And we can use that, again, in business life and in our home lives. So I'm going to read a little bit from my book here. What exactly does it mean to leverage your intuition? Good question. When you leverage something, you're exerting some sort of influence or power over something else in order to make something better or to benefit in some way. When you leverage your intuition to increase your business acumen, you are simply using your gut instincts to help you get ahead. It doesn't matter if the business skills you're trying to enhance are corporate, public, private, communal, or even personal. This is your life. So it's time to rock it. When you use your natural gifts, you'll discover how to get ahead without having to manipulate or step on others, creating mutual beneficial relationships. And when you utilize the possibly greatest tool you have, it increases the odds that you will succeed. So what do you all think about that? What do you think about leveraging your intuition to try and get ahead, right? I'm getting head nods over here in person. The thing about leveraging your intuition to get ahead is that you're using these tools that you're born with, these innate gifts, these intuitive gifts that we all have. And that's another question I get all the time is, are we all intuitive? Do we all have that deep down inside of us that we can tap into? And the answer is yes, we are all intuitive. We may not all be psychic, and we may not all do this for a living, but we are all born with a natural form of intuition. And it's our job as people, as humans, to use that. Because why wouldn't you? Cops have gut instincts, right? Healers intuitively know what people need, especially important right now in this, whole pandemic time. Mothers, fathers, we have that parental gut instinct. Something's wrong. You can feel it. When your child's about to call you and say, hey, I need help. That's all part of your intuition. How many of you feel like you have an intuitive instinct or an intuitive guidance system inside? I was going to say, I think you all need to raise your hands. So if you're not raising your hands, it just means that you're unaware of it. Because everybody has that form of intuition. We all have some type of intuitive awareness. So who am I to tell you that you can do this? Who am I? What does it mean for you guys to sit here and listen to me tell you that you can do this? Who here or at home was ever struck by lightning? No, either was I. Who survived a near-death experience and came back from the dead? We do have somebody back there. Let me ask you this. A near-death experience, by the way, for those who don't know, is that your heart physically stops. So physically, you have passed, but you come back, okay? And you're alive again. So some people that come back from a near-death experience come back and they're a little different. They can be a little more tuned in. Other people don't necessarily have that. I never had a near-death experience. So how can I sit here and tell you how to use your intuition if I never had any of these things happen? I never grew up having, dead people come to my feet and grab me in bed. I never had any like really scary things happen to me by ghosts. I've been pretty lucky. So who am I to tell you? Well, over 20 years ago, I felt like I was hit over the head and I heard the words, "You need to do this work now." Come on. I mean, that was a little crazy. So I kind of looked around and I said, there's no way I'm going to do this for a living. And when I say that, they hit me over the head, I knew instantly what it was all about. I knew that it was my guides, that it was loved ones on the other side. I knew that they were telling me I had to do this work. And I said, there's no way I'm going to do this. I'm not hanging out a shingle. I was the controller of a company. I left there to open my own store, to have my own business. There was no way I was going to hang a shingle out that said psychic, because to me, that was just crazy. At the same time, I knew there was no way I wasn't going to do it because it just felt right. Intuitively, in my gut, I knew there was no way I couldn't do it. So at that moment, my whole life changed. Everything I expected changed. And I just got goosebumps. Any of you know, if you've ever had a reading with me, if I get goosebumps, that's validation. Any of you guys have ever had a reading with me? Yeah, okay. Validation. Goosebumps are total validation. So if you guys get goosebumps, as you're doing a reading or as you're doing something here tonight, total validation for you. And it's kind of fun. I mean, when you get the goosebumps, you get all tingly, it kind of makes you a little excited. So let's talk about something else. We all love tangibles. We all love those tangible things where we can actually touch something, pick ourselves up and actually touch something. Those those tangible things, those things that we could touch. We could touch our phones, we could touch our books, we could touch other people. Those are tangible items. And it's so much easier to understand and to appreciate tangible items and tangible things. I can see all of you here. So because I see you, I know that you're actually here. Intuition is one of those tricky, intangible items. It's one of those things that it's really hard to discern and it's really difficult to understand. And it's really difficult because we can't grab onto it. We can't hold onto it like a book. We can't touch it like a person. We can't drink it, but it's there. It's one of those things that you actually have to start acknowledging in a different way than you would something else. How many people out there think that they're intuitive? Raise your hand, whether you're home or not. I could see some of you on the screen. So it's very interesting. So anybody want to share a reason why they think they're intuitive? Anyone? No? I don't know. Carol, I mean, Alice, can you unmute somebody?
Yes. Who?
Whoever's raising their hand right now.
Okay, that's me. My daughter and I studied for a number of years on the subject of intuition, and that we started from the premise that it was something that we all have in varying degrees. So there was a tremendous amount of validation and experiences along the way. So that's why I think that I'm intuitive.
Awesome. And that's perfect. Thank you very much for sharing, by the way. But it's perfect because so many of us have those little experiences where we, have a flash of intuitive awareness, or we have a flash where we think that somebody is trying to get in touch with us, or that somebody's trying to help us in some way, but we don't always recognize it, right? So let me ask you guys this. If you could have a superpower, any superpower at all, what would it be? I would like to fly, personally.
I would choose invincibility.
Invincible, okay. Anybody else besides the flying? I think the flying is pretty cool.
I'd like to heal.
We have somebody here that would like to heal. I'm sure there's so many other superpowers that people want to have. But what about having your intuition as your superpower? Because if your intuition is your superpower, you could do anything. You would know everything. You would be able to tune in and know how to heal. You might not be able to know how to fly alone, but you could figure out, using your intuition, what would be the best way to fly using something else, maybe. Okay. Your superpower can be intuition. Intuition is invisible. It's one of those tricky intangibles that you don't always understand. We can't reach out and touch it, and we don't always believe we have it. But our intuition is real. How do we know if it's there, if it's invisible? We can feel things, hear things, see things, smell things, and generally sense what's happening through our intuitive gifts. Intuition is that sixth sense, that extra metaphysical perceptive tool, that intangible gift that amps up our 5 physical senses that we use to interpret information. It's preternatural, almost like things you only hear about with relation to the supernatural. Intuition really is our very own superpower, and we all have access to it every day. So we talked about having other kinds of superpowers, which are great. We all love superpowers. I would love to have a superpower besides intuition, but intuition is my superpower, and it could be all of yours too. So we're going to do a little exercise. We're going to get you guys grounded so that we can raise your vibration. I know it sounds kind of like an oxymoron, but we have to kind of pull ourselves back into our bodies in order to raise our vibration and to be able to tune in. Okay? You guys want to do that? How about you guys at home? Everybody good? Okay. You guys ready to do that? You're so quiet in the back over there. They're never quiet, by the way. This is a not quiet group. And I think they're trying really hard to be very quiet. Yeah. Okay. Steve? Dave Jeswaldy is trying to sign in, but he can't join it. He doesn't have the link. Okay, so.
I'll send it to him.
Everybody ready? Okay. Put your feet down on the ground if they're not, because I want you guys to get comfy, cozy. And close your eyes. I know you all want to keep looking at me, but you can close your eyes for a couple minutes. It's okay. So go ahead and just close your eyes. Get comfy. Be somewhere you're comfortable and quiet. And take a nice deep breath. When you're ready, imagine that coming out of the bottom of your feet are roots. These roots are reaching deep down into the ground. They continue reaching all the way down to a giant boulder in the center of the earth and wrap themselves around it. Now, as you continue breathing deeply, imagine there is positive earth energy rising up through the roots into the soles of your feet. As it rises up, you can feel it warming your feet, your ankles, and your calves all the way up to your knees. Feel that energy moving up even further. And as it does, it is clearing out any psychic debris that no longer belongs there. Feel the energy continuing up through your thighs, into your hips and your abdomen, getting rid of any negativity you don't need to hold on to. Allow it to move up even more into your chest area, warming your body and clearing anything that is no longer yours. The warm earth energy now moves into your neck and shoulders, relieving any tension you may have, and continues into your face and your head. As it does, it removes any lingering stress in your jaw and your forehead. Now allow that beautiful earth energy to move to the top of your head, where there's a funnel opening up toward the heavens. As it does, feel it rising, almost stretching you up, pulling your energy strongly but calmly through the tunnel. Your incredible earth energy is mixing now with the energy of the universe. And as it does, your vibration is lifted, flowing toward the vibration of the universe, mixing and melding together. You may even find you feel lighter as your vibration is raised. When you're ready, take a deep breath and open your eyes. You've raised your vibration, which can help you connect on a deeper level. It can also aid with opening up your ability to interpret and translate intuitive messages. Whether using your clairaudience, which we'll talk about in a minute, or any other clair sense, you can always stop, take a deep breath, ground yourself, and raise your vibration to allow you to better connect. So everybody go ahead and just open your eyes if you haven't already, and take a nice deep breath. Now, at the very least, you were just able to just relax. At best, you just grounded yourself. And it took you, what, 5 minutes? Not even? It took us a couple of minutes to really get back into our bodies. And I just got goosebumps again. So goosebumps are total validation that you guys all did a great job. Everybody. That also means that you're ready to start practicing. You're ready to start playing with your intuition. Anybody have any questions? If you're on Zoom, you can, I believe, chat them to Alice. Anybody in person have any questions before we begin? Did your head get maybe a little tingly? Did you feel anything kind of moving around in there? I'm getting some nods over here. Did you start to feel like it was a little uncomfortable even? Because I'll tell you, when I do stuff, a lot of the times, if somebody else is guiding me, I feel uncomfortable. And it's not because the person that's guiding me is not good, or because the meditation or the exercise that I'm doing is not good. I just get a little uncomfortable unless I can kind of let it all happen. So sometimes you may feel a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes it may feel like it's kind of holding you down a little bit. And it may also just be that you need it. You really need it. You need to relax. You need to just meditate. You need to let it go. Okay. You guys want to start practicing a little? If this section in the back here does not start livening up a little bit, like I know you do. Okay, so we're going to start using what's called clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is clear eyesight. It's the clear psychic sight. How many people have ever seen an image in their mind and said, was that my imagination or was that like something else? Right? You guys can talk. It's okay for me. They're nodding their heads, but you guys can't see it. So they're trying to be good. Definitely you can talk. But how many of you have actually like seen something in your mind's eye and you said, what was that? Like, or you think about somebody and you see an image of them, or vice versa, I should say. You see an image of them in your mind and then all of a sudden you think about them, or they call you on the phone, right? That happens to so many people. Very, very common. Or you see somebody like flash into your mind, and then you're like, oh God, I don't want to run into them. And then bam, there they are, right? And it happens all the time, like all the time. Well, we're going to practice using that clairvoyance.
For those of you at home, you're welcome to type your questions into the chat. And I'll make sure that Melanie gets them if she doesn't see them.
Okay. So intuitive vision is also where you can conceptualize your goals. So conceptualizing your goals. Let's talk about that for a second. When you are setting a goal to beat a record in gym class from way back when, it's very easy to figure out what you want to do, right? When you're setting a goal for yourself, it's a little more difficult because sometimes it can be a little kind of iffy. It can kind of be a little hard to grasp. But what about if you're able to kind of visualize what you want your goal to be and put it out there by visualizing it? So let's go ahead and start trying to do this. We can set our intentions by visualizing our goals and using our clairvoyant sense, our third eye, to actually see our goals in our heads. And a lot of times people say, well, what does that mean? See it in your heads. It's your mind's eye. And it's almost like your imagination. But that's okay. Because when you can start to imagine things, then you'll be able to start to see your goals and your other clairvoyant experiences easier. Okay. So I want you guys to all close your eyes again for a second. And I'm going to ask you some questions. And just let the answers come to you in your mind's eye. You may see a yes or a no, or you may see a flash of something else, an image or a symbol or something else in your mind's eye. So intuitive vision, again, is where you can conceptualize your goals. Then by setting your intention, you can use your clairvoyance to help you realize your goals. I'm going to ask you the questions, and these are sample questions, but expect to see your answers. Think about what a goal may be for you right now. It could be something simple. It can have something to do with work or with school or with home. It can have something to do with relationships. It can be any goal that you want to set for yourself. Set something that, you know, is real for you. Now, allow your mind's eye, allow your imagination to see the answers to these questions. Is my goal going to be beneficial to me? You might see a yes, you might see a no, you may see something else. Am I headed in the right direction to achieve my goal? What steps should I take to reach my goal? Does it make sense to go after this? Will I be able to realize my goal within a month, a year, 5 years? Is there anything I should be on the lookout for? Is there anything I should avoid? Should I adjust my goal? Go ahead and open your eyes when you're ready. Did anybody see anything? Did anybody hear anything? You heard something in the back there?
Yeah, I always hear. I don't so much with images. Yeah, definitely heard.
So what happens often, and that was the next one that I was going to talk about, is that we all have kind of a prevalent intuitive sense. Some people it's clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. Some people it's clairaudience, which is clear hearing. So if you're big into music and you're big into hearing people, talking to people, getting your information by talking with others, then you may hear your answers instead. A lot of people also experience this sense of feeling. You may feel things. I keep talking about the goosebumps, right? You may feel things. You may feel what feels good, what feels bad, what feels right to you, what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel excited versus what makes you not so happy, not so excited. Can you ask them to mute that? The group. So you heard answers. And did they relate to your goals?
Yes.
Okay, good. So was it positive?
Yeah. And I also get like a vibrational feeling, like when you were saying questions, I could feel vibration, everything was up here.
Yep. So you also
When I
have,
felt right, it all felt good, like as you were saying them, and then there were some specific directions, but not complete, not for everything, but just a few things I heard that were good guidance.
that's awesome. So for those of you on Zoom, what's going on here is that one of the people that's in person has experienced her answers to her goal setting or her goal visualization in hearing. So she's using her clairaudient abilities. Awesome. And we also have, like we were just talking about, the clairsentient. Clairsentient is one of the most common, and that means that you feel things. You can feel things either from other people, or you can feel things inside as it relates to something else. You can also experience a kind of feeling on your body. Again, it makes you feel good, makes you feel bad, makes you feel sick, makes you feel happy or elated. Okay. Looked like you were about to ask a question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And what's interesting about clairsentience, and we just got a message on the chat here. Some people are very visual. Artists tend to be very visual because they see what they're doing. So they use that clairvoyance instead of necessarily the clairaudience. They see it, which is why when we first started, some people are able to see their goals versus hear them. Some people are able to experience them more. Some people get really hot. Some people do actually get really hot. I'm up here sweating. So it's not just you in the back there. I am sweating, and it's because when you start to tap in, and besides the fact that half of us are probably going through menopause right now, let's be real. But when you start to tap in, you also raise your vibration. Remember, we did that grounding. So you're raising your vibration, and it can make you really hot. There's kind of a misnomer out there that, I see dead people. So all of a sudden you're going to see all like this really cold air around you, and you're going to start to freeze. Well, that happens to some people, not to me. I get really, really hot. And we can call them those menopausal flashes because it's probably a combination, but it's also when you use your intuition and you ground down, you're raising your vibration. So it can make you really hot. So we just talked about being able to like tune in and like use the energy around you, right? Feel that clairsentient energy. But let's like really tune in and figure other people out. Because let's face it, we want to know what's going on with other people. We want to know what they're all about. And if we're going to be in business with somebody, or if we're going to be trying to sell somebody something, or we're going to be trying to buy something off of someone, we want to know if we can trust them. We want to know if they're there for the right reasons. And even if we want to heal somebody, we need to be able to feel their energy, to feel what's going on with them. Okay. So one of the things I talk about is feeling the energetic handshake. So we have handshakes, which is one of the most common forms of greeting somebody, at least in America. And until, COVID hit us, we all were touching each other. Now, not so much, but our handshakes can share so much with us. Whether they are handshakes in person or they are actually handshakes virtually or next to you, we can glean information off other people. So one of the easiest ways to start to read others and to get information from other people is to do that handshake. So I'm looking around because it's kind of hard to do it in person when we're trying to socially distance ourselves with people that you don't know. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix people up here, and then we're also going to have you at home think about people. So think about 3 other people that you know, okay? And for you guys that are here, I want you each to look at one person, figure out who you're gonna do or who you're gonna look at. Think about who you're gonna look at, because you're gonna virtually, socially distancing, you're gonna give them a handshake and you're gonna read them. And I know it might sound a little crazy and a little intimidating right now, but it's not, because you guys rock it and you guys all just grounded yourself and you raised your vibration. So you're gonna be able to do this. So if you're at home, I want you to think about 3 different people. And if you're here, one at a time, by the way, one at a time. And if you're here, I want you to look at somebody that you don't know. Try not to intimidate them by staring them down, but look at somebody that you don't really know. You can know them a little bit. I mean, let's be realistic here, but look at somebody that you don't really know and try and tune in. So the people at home, think about the first person and try and tune into them. Now, when I say tune in, I'm talking about you've already done your vibrational stuff, right? You've already raised your vibration. You've meditated down so that you're connected to the universe. You're connected to all this energy everywhere around you. And now you're going to connect to the person that you're staring down in a nice way, or the one that you're thinking about at home. And you want to do it with somebody that you don't necessarily know, because it can help. And if you're staring at the back of their heads, that's okay too. But in a second, what we're going to do is we're going to tune in by using every different clear sense, or clear intuitive sense. We're going to listen, because some of us hear things. We're going to pay attention to any symbols or any images that we see in our forehead, like in our mind back here. We're going to feel whatever there is that needs to be felt about them without actually feeling them. And then we may just know things about them. But because we don't want to get this too crazy, we're not going to go too dirty here. We want you to think about 3 things. The first 3 words to describe that person that come to mind. Okay? So take a deep, deep breath and go ahead and look at the first person, or the first person you're thinking about, and come up with the first word to describe them, whether you get it intuitively through your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, your claircognizance. Okay, does everybody have the first word about them? Just one word.
Compassionate.
Who said that?
I did.
So there's somebody here, Palma, in person, and whoever she was staring at, she got compassionate. Very nice. How did you get that, Palma?
I don't know, just looking at it, I don't know.
Did it just pop into your mind?
I had.
So a lot of times, like I said, we have something called claircognizance, which is just, you just know. You may not know where it just came from, and that's okay, because you don't need to necessarily know where it came from to know that your intuition is working. Anybody else get anything? First word?
Very sweet.
Sweet?
Yeah, we can't really see, yeah.
Nice. You must have been looking at me.
As a BFO, straight ahead.
Oh, very
Sweet
nice.
and kind.
I still
giving.
think she was looking at me when she got sweet. But
I was also looking at her.
That's what you got.
so it sounds like there's somebody here that is very sweet and very kind, because there's a couple different people who are looking at one of the ladies in person, and they got very sweet and kind. So hopefully you people at home are doing the same thing, and you're able to tune in to somebody, because you're going to do it again with the same person actually, and you're going to get a second word. And the reason is because the first word, it may give you kind of the general opinion of that person that you were looking at, right? It may give you kind of that overview. But now we want to go a little deeper. We want to get a little bit invasive, not too bad, but we want to know something else about them that we may not know by just looking at them. We want to get that energy. We want to do that energetic handshake. So we're going to go for that second word. So go ahead and think about that person if you're at home, for that second word that you're tuning into. It may come claircognizantly, meaning you may just know it. You may feel it in your body. You may see it clairvoyantly, or you may hear it. And if you're here in person, go ahead and stare them down and get that second word. Okay. Usually it's kind of the first word you hear or you see or you feel. It's the first thing you get. Once you get something and you start to like try and discount it, you're arguing with your intuition. We don't want to do that. We argue enough with everybody every day. We don't need to argue with ourselves anymore. Now that you know that you guys are all awesome and you're very intuitive, you don't want to have to do that, with yourself anymore. So second word, did everybody get something? How about you guys at home? Did you all get something?
It's an interesting dynamic at home.
Good. Oh, so somebody just posted first word happy, second word conflicted. I wonder who she was looking at. Very interesting. How about you guys? Did you all get a second word for somebody? You did not.
Authentic.
So Barb over here in person got authentic.
Karen got first word hurt, second word protected.
So Karen from home also got two words. The first word was hurt and the second word was protected. Interesting.
Protective.
Oh, protective. Very interesting. I wonder who she's thinking about. Now we have a Karen here in person who said, nope, I didn't get a second word. So do you mind if I ask you who you were looking at?
Over here. Straight ahead.
Which one?
The one on the end. Yeah,
So did you get a first word?
I did. I got kind.
Very nice. So maybe that was wrong. She said she got kind. And the person that she said it about said, not so much.
I was tuning to her too, and the first word I got was joyful, and the second word I got was mysterious.
Oh, that makes kind of sense. That kind of makes sense.
There's another in the chat.
What did she say? Or he said?
Tony said first word literate, second word tired, so tired.
Is she talking about me? Literate and tired. That explains me to a T, I think. So it's very interesting that you didn't get a second word. Now, sometimes when that happens, we're blocking off what we hear, what we see, what we think, what we feel, or we discount it. Also, sometimes the person that we're trying to read has kind of got a protective layer, a protective barrier up. And so that can happen too. And if you put both of those together, it can make it even more difficult to tune in. Okay.
Why is everybody looking at me?
So we're going to do this one more time because we're going for that third word. So try again. And everybody just kind of let your hair down. The people at home, whoever you're thinking about, you're going for that third word, no matter how it comes, just that first thing that you get, whether it's a word that comes into your mind, whether it's something that you see, whether it's something that you feel, whatever that is, your third word. Ready? Take a nice deep breath. And go ahead. Okay. Did you get another word? Oh, Karen's like, yes, I knew you were gonna ask me. So yes, I made sure I got a word. I'm kind of interested to see what your word was this third time around.
Conscientious.
Interesting.
Is that-
Conscientious. What was that?
She said almost cripplingly so.
Oh, she said almost cripplingly so. So Karen, I think you tuned in a little bit there. I think that was pretty good. All right. Anybody else get another third word? Amy,
I got a second word, not a third.
what'd you get?
Astute.
Astute. Well, that's very astute of you. Okay. Does it make sense to you?
I don't know the person, but that's just what I got.
Okay. And you didn't get a first word?
Did not. Nor did I get a third. So.
Very interesting. Were you staring at the back of Barb's head?
No.
Okay. Well, that can definitely happen. So again, when you're doing this, you want to get to the point where you can do it naturally, where it starts to just happen. And you can just kind of look at somebody and read their energy. And a lot of times we do this without even realizing it. I used to do it before I realized, before I got hit over the head and told that I had to do this as work now. I used to do it all the time. I thought everybody did it. I thought that was the normal thing. And the reality is everybody does kind of do it. We all make those quick judgments about people, but we usually do it because we're looking at them or because we're sitting with them. Once you get more practiced in doing it, you're able to do it with people you don't know. You're able to do it with people that are, virtually on a conference call with you, people that you've never met before, right? When you go back to, being able to actually shake people's hands again, post-pandemic, you're going to start to realize that you're going to get even more information off of those people by shaking their hands, because the energy is going to flow through. So for all you people who kind of came together, we're going to do it again. And for anybody at home, you're going to get to try this either with somebody that's in the room with you, or you're going to get to try it next time you shake somebody's hand. So we're going to do it one more time. And people that know each other are going to go ahead and shake each other's hands. Okay. Only because, the whole pandemic thing. So we're going to keep it to people that know each other. You're going to shake each other's hands and you're going to get a word. Okay. One at a time. Ready? Go ahead. Just get the first word that comes out. Once you have a word, you can let go. Did you guys get a word for each other?
Who else? I got friendly.
Friendly?
I got soulful.
Soulful. You guys at home, if you were able to try it, hopefully you also got words. If not, like I said, next time you are with somebody, you can go ahead and shake their hand and figure it out. How about you guys in the back?
I got lovable.
Lovable? For who?
Amy.
That fits.
Genuine.
Lovable, genuine. People are very generous in this group here. Oh, nervous. So somebody in the back was getting nervous, claustrophobic. It kind of makes sense. A bit squirrely. Okay. So anyway, energetic handshakes are one of the easiest ways to get to know somebody, to understand somebody, to reach out to somebody. You can think of these questions now when you think about the person that possibly you were looking at today, the person that you were thinking about in your mind. I'm going to ask you some questions. And this is the easiest thing to do when you're trying to get to know somebody very quickly with an energetic handshake or with an actual physical handshake. So think about people at home, think about who you were thinking about when you first did it. and you were trying to get those 3 separate words. And then the people here, think about the person where you first did it, and you're gonna ask yourself some questions. What do you feel about the energy of the other person? Can you tell what type of person you're shaking hands with? What images, if any, do you see in your mind's eye about that person? What do you know about that person? Just know about them. Can you trust them? That's always a fun one. Especially in business, you're going to want to know whether you can trust somebody, and in friendships, you want to know if they're trustworthy or not. Are they good for you? Do they have your back? Does it feel natural for you to want to tell them about yourself? Now that's an interesting one. Do you like them? Are they worthy of your friendship? Do they deserve to be hired? Is the person a hard worker? Do they have what you want? That's also a good one. Can they accomplish what you need them to do? Are they worthy of your time? So in just one handshake, you can gain all that information about somebody. Now, again, it's a little different because we're, dealing with COVID and people aren't touching each other as much. Maybe you are. But you can do it energetically because we're all connected. We're all here. We're all connected together. So did anybody back there get any answers to any of those questions? Anybody virtually or anybody here?
Tony made an interesting point on the chat. She said, I tuned into a friend in rehab and had a visceral sense of her exhaustion and her surroundings right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, she's feeling it. So Tony, you're feeling this clairsentiently. You're feeling it with your gut. And it makes a lot of sense. Anybody else? Yeah, you want to share?
Yeah, I got like warm, when we shook hands, warm, and a lot of big energy, like a lot of energy behind the warmth.
Nice. Very nice. You're on fire right now. Is that a good thing or? Okay, good. Anybody else get anything about the people that you didn't know? Yeah. You want to share or no?
Well, not really.
Okay.
But I got a lot. Like, I don't want to, like start saying stuff. I mean, unless you want me to.
Well, I mean, maybe it depends on who you were reading. I mean,
But like reliable and what's the other word? Like very, I would think, like I would hire her to work with me to keep things orderly.
Ooh.
And she'd be definitely good on that kind of level, in my opinion.
So the woman that we have here in the back corner was reading somebody here who just validated totally what she said. And some of the things that she was getting was that she would definitely rely on them and that she would definitely hire them to keep things organized. That makes a lot of sense. That's actually one of the best things that you can get off somebody. If you're trying to hire somebody, or if you want to know whether they're going to be good for your business, are they going to be organized enough to do what you need them to do? Right? So that's perfect. Anybody else want to share or no? Anybody at home?
Just that one.
Okay. So what about something else? Like we're talking about work stuff. We're talking about, creating what we want, creating what we desire. We're talking about things that will, make us happy in life. what about manifesting? What do you think about manifesting? Who believes that they can manifest something that they want? Wow, that's pretty good. Almost everybody here just raised their hands. I don't know about the people at home, whether they're raising their hands, but hopefully you know that you can manifest things. Now, having said that, do you think that manifesting is creating something from nothing? Or do you think that you have to actually buy something to manifest it? Man, God, you guys are all so quiet. I'm sorry that they're so quiet at home. So manifesting is actually creating something from nothing. It's creating something that you want. You're bringing it into your life. Now, I actually just had a client today and she said, you know, I believe in manifesting. I have done a lot of manifesting in my life and I've had a lot of things work for me that I've manifested and that I brought in. But I want to know, why can't I manifest everything? Everything. Like, why can't I get the big old house that I really want? Other people are getting the big old house that they want and they're getting it. Why can't I? Now, this woman, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because this woman is in her late 80s. She already has a huge house and she has no help with it. She wants an even bigger house on the water with a huge lawn and a huge deck. And she has no help, nobody to take care of it. What's that? So,
I said she should maybe get a short-term rental.
well, that's actually a really good idea. Somebody here just said, you know, maybe she's manifesting it kind of in the wrong way. She should manifest a short-term rental and get it that way.
But sometimes
Yeah. So essentially, you know, they're saying that it can happen, but she needs to manifest it in the right way. And what I told her was kind of the same thing, that a lot of times we don't get what we're trying to manifest all the time. And it's not because we don't deserve it. It's not because we're not worthy. It's not because somebody else is better than us, because let's face it, we're all pretty awesome. But it may just be because, you know, 5 years from now, she's not going to be able to help herself. She's not going to be able to do any of the work that needs to be done in the house. So the universe, the energy out there, God, whatever it is that you tap into, whatever it is that you believe in, that's helping you, your guides, your loved ones on the other side, I call all that energy the universe. The universe is working to manifest what's going to be for your greater good. And if your greater good is not going to be struggling in 5 years because you're not going to be able to take care of this huge freaking house that you just manifested, then the universe is actually looking out for you. The universe is trying to give you what you need and what you desire and make your best hopes and dreams come true, but that will work for you. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, that sounds a little crazy.
Dave in the chat said needs and wants need to be parallel.
So yeah, so somebody just said needs and wants in the chat, in the virtual chat, they need to be parallel, which means that it has to work together. And that's, again, where the universe comes in. The universe is coming in to say, hey, you know, we want to help you. Like, we want to make this work for you because, of course, you're worth it. You know, your ex-husband is not the only person that should have a giant house, but you're not going to be able to handle it in 5 years. So we're not going to give it to you. Like, it's just not going to happen because we are going to help you with what's best for you, what's for your greater good. So when a lot of people say manifesting is not real, it never works out for me, you may be asking for something that's not going to be, you know, as Dave just said, parallel, your needs and your wants. It's not going to work. And the universe, let's face it, I mean, the energy that's out there is kind of smarter than us. Like, you know, it's taken into account everything about us, everything about our situations, about our lives, and it's trying to work for us. So everybody go ahead and close your eyes, and you guys at home can do this too. You're going to go ahead and you're going to think about what you want to manifest. And I'm going to ask you to think of a dollar amount that you want to manifest. Think of something that you want to manifest monetarily. And when I say manifest, how are we going to do that? Ask for it. Right now, think about it. Just ask for what you want. that dollar amount, ask for it. And then believe that it can actually happen. Because if you don't believe in it, it's never going to happen. If you don't believe in the power of manifestation, it will never happen for you. And now thank the universe for bringing it to you. If it's for your greater good, it may not happen instantly, it may not happen tomorrow, it may not even happen next week. But think about it. If it's for your greater good, the universe wants to make it work for you. So again, we're just going to talk about money. We're going to think about that dollar amount that you want to manifest and really, really see it and see what it will do for you. See what that dollar amount will do for you. What will it buy you? What will it help you accomplish? What will it maybe pay off for you? If you got that dollar amount, where would you be? Would you be in a different place? Would you be with somebody else? Would you be on vacation? Because if you're going on vacation, you can bring me, as long as it's somewhere warm, tropical. And when you visualize that money, maybe it's in a pile of change, a pile of gold. Maybe it's in stacks of bills. Maybe you see it coming in your bank account, or you see it as a check that's made out to you. But when you visualized it and you see exactly how much you want and how much you're asking the universe to manifest for you, go ahead again and thank the universe for bringing it to you. And go ahead and open your eyes. Anybody want to share? You guys at home can share too. You can tell us how much you're trying to manifest, how much you asked for, and for what. Anybody?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
You can.
So if I'm just, hypothetically manifesting the next 3 years of tuition for my son in Georgia Tech, and I'm seeing it in my bank account manifested to me from the universe, and is it because I worked harder and earned it for myself, or is the universe just giving it to me?
So Barb here in person just asked, if I try and manifest tuition to come into my bank account to pay for my son's education over the next 3 years, is it because I'm manifesting it and I have to work for it, work harder to get that money? Or is it because the universe is just going to drop it into my bank account? Now, what's interesting about that question is that it can be both. If you're asking for money and all of a sudden you get somebody that emails you and says, hey, I have a side job for you to do. It's going to take you, a week and you're going to earn $5,000 doing it. That could be the universe starting off, here's some money towards your tuition. You may also, unfortunately this does happen, but you may also manifest it and get it through an inheritance. Usually we hope that it's somebody that's ready to go, somebody that's older and ready to go. And that has happened as well. I've actually had a couple of clients who inherited unexpectedly and had money end up in their bank account. And you may just get it from some other way. But if you are trying to manifest something and all of a sudden the opportunity comes up for you to earn that money, if we're talking about money, the opportunity comes up for you to begin to earn that extra money that you weren't expecting to earn. That's the universe's way of saying, hey, we're trying to help you out. It's like that old adage where a flood hits and the guy climbs to the top of his roof, right? He climbs all the way up to the top of his building. And he sits there and he says, God save me, whether it's God, the universe, whatever, God save me. And all of a sudden a rowboat comes by and there's these guys in the rowboat says, hey, jump in, get in. And he says, no, God's going to save me. And then a couple minutes later, as the water's rising, getting higher and higher, a helicopter comes by and they drop down a ladder for him. Hey, come on, jump up, get in the helicopter. No. God's going to save me. So he doesn't get in the helicopter. He doesn't jump in the boat and he drowns because the water keeps rising. So he gets up to heaven and he looks at God and says, God, why have you forsaken me? Why didn't you save me? And he said, what the hell did you think the boat and the helicopter were for? So don't ignore what's happening in your life to manifest what you want. And don't ignore the things that come to you seemingly out of nowhere that you can take advantage of to help you to manifest what you're looking for, and participate in your life. So don't ignore all those things that happen, all those little kind of nudges that you might get, those intuitive nudges, but participate in your life, because there is no one set way to manifest. It's not always going to happen the same way for everybody. It's not always going to happen in the same time frame for everybody. And here's a good part of it too. You are trying to manifest tuition, having the money to pay your tuition for your son's college education for the next 3 years. That's a hell of a lot of money, right? How much were you trying to manifest?
20,000.
20,000. That's a hell of a lot less than 3 years worth of tuition. So why were you trying to manifest 20,000?
I want a boat.
She wants a boat. So she was visualizing the boat, the $20,000 for a boat. And I'm down with that because I would be on that boat with her. So I'm good with that. I'll help you manifest that.
Right.
So again, there's different ways that that can happen for you. There's different ways that that can come to you. However, you have to believe that this can happen. You have to believe that it's more than a possibility, that the universe wants to provide it for you. Okay. What about you guys back there? Anybody? They're all laughing. I'm not really sure why. Patty, share. Patty is being shy, and that's not like Patty at all.
I'll share one of her stories. Good story. You just, every once in a while when something's going on, she just thinks positively and all of a sudden it falls at her feet. Well, over years.
They're talking about how
Yeah.
one of the people here manifests because she believes, she thinks positively, she knows it's going to come to her, and she believes in it, and it happens.
Many times. Well, that's true.
Yeah. And it's that positive belief that can create that manifestation. How about you guys? Did you manifest anything? Did you ask for anything? Yeah. Did you ask for a little bit? Did you ask for a lot of it? A lot of it. Anything in particular that you're trying to get money for?
It wasn't a number, it was more a visualization of the valley that we're going to be involved in. As far as like growing foods and. Yeah.
Very cool. So they're trying to manifest the, what did you call it? The valley that they're going to be involved in to grow food and
For B&B and.
for a B&B.
And everything that goes with it, so big numbers.
Awesome. Awesome. I think you guys are going to get it. I think it's going to happen. Just keep putting it out there and say thank you to the universe every day. Just thank the universe.
I have no idea what that number's gonna be, so I'm just gonna let them, they're gonna show me where it is.
So they're saying that they don't necessarily know what the number is going to be, and that's okay because it's the end result. It's what you want that money for that really makes it happen.
That part's there. It's
Yeah.
definitely a valid.
That's awesome. So he's saying that that part's very clear. They know exactly what they want. And that is sometimes easier than trying to put a dollar amount on it, because that piece of land or that property may just fall into your lap out of nowhere. Okay. Anybody else back there manifest anything?
So I was just gonna say, I was just telling Patty, I didn't see a dollar amount, but I actually see an apartment in Portugal. I see the
Ooh.
doors, I see it open, I see the vista. I see-
Beautiful. So
have an address? I'd like to-
No, I don't.
so Amy is manifesting an apartment in Portugal, and she could see the doors, she could see the address, and I can see the invitation that came to my email with the tickets and the link to get there. So I'm down with that too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
That's awesome. And again, you're probably gonna get it because you're visualizing it, you're believing that it can happen. And you kind of know that it's there for you, it's waiting for you. And I'm also going to say that a lot of times when we try and manifest things, we have to be patient because it doesn't always happen in our own time frame. When my husband and I and my family were looking to move from our old house and sell our house in Norwalk to buy a house in Bethel, I was manifesting it. I wrote everything down. I started intuitively tuning into what it was going to look like and where it was going to be. And et cetera, et cetera. And there was no house on the market that had what I had written down. And by the way, it had like gold trim inside and like white painted, like it was not good, but I saw it and I knew that that was going to happen. And I manifested the property based on kind of using my intuition at the same time, but it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't for sale yet. So I wrote everything down that I got about it, and then I let it go and I put it away in a file. And sure enough, all of a sudden, the house was up for sale. And it popped up on realtor.com. And I had said it's going to be, you know, on the specific end of Bethel near the Reading border, as opposed to on the other end near the Danbury border. And I said, it's going to be near my sister's house. And it's going to be on a dead end road. And it's going to have a separate driveway for my husband's shop. Sure enough, the house opened up. Now, I don't know whether I made them sell it or whether it just opened up because it was ready. But when I was manifesting it and started intuitively tuning into it, it wasn't there yet. It wasn't ready yet. It wasn't for sale yet. And all of a sudden it popped up, and it ended up being the property backed up to my sister's property. So we were literally touching. And it was, the property had 2 driveways, one leading to a shop for my husband. And it had that ugly gold trim on the inside that we immediately repainted. So, you know, leave the stuff out that you don't want, because you're going to get that for some reason. It's going to happen. But sometimes you have to wait a little while. And sometimes when you're manifesting things, you have to wait longer than you may want to. But be present, participate in your life and be present, because you may get those little things that pop up. Like maybe you'll get the offer to, you know, tutor somebody for only a week for $5,000. And that's the first $5,000 that you can, you know, sock away to pay for tuition. Little things like that can pop up out of nowhere. Okay. Have another question.
On a kind of similar, but like kind of what you're talking about, not a dollar amount.
Yeah.
I was thinking back to all the times that I actually did have extra and how it came in to my life, and I wasn't hanging it on entirely things that I wanted. It was always something like that had to do with being better for another person or for a group of people or
So
for another.
Steve is talking about manifesting, but manifesting based on other people and doing for other people, making things happen for other people.
Yeah, and not like, so like, it would be something like, I'm able to do this, and therefore, I, like you were joking around about it. You get the invites after the fact, you know?
Yep.
That's somebody thinking about it because they can bring other people to enjoy as well. You know, it's not always something that relies entirely on me, for me to enjoy by myself. You know, it's that is a huge part of the success of that manifesting that I found.
So he's saying that for those of you at home, Steve is talking about how we can manifest, but we can include, you know, the needs, the desires, the wanting to share with other people. And that sometimes when he does that, that's a more positive or a better manifestation, and it may show up easier. And that also happens because, you know, we're not just our own individual person, we're here for everybody, right? And if we're trying to manifest for the good of other people as well. So Amy, I expect that invite to Portugal, just saying. And I expect that boat ride, Karen, just letting you know. You know, I'll add to that energy to manifest. And what Steve is talking about is that that's exactly what happens, is that you're adding from the universe, you're adding other people's energy into it because you want it not just for you, but you want it for other people too, for the betterment of other people. And when you're selfless and you're asking for other people to get help, or you're asking for, you know, being able to even just entertain other people by manifesting whatever it is that you want, then the universe may look at it and say, oh, this might be for the greater good of not just for you, but for other people. So we're going to kind of bring that to you. We're going to make that a little better. So any of you guys that want to, you know, buy a beach house that has a private room that says Melanie on the door, go right ahead. I'm there. I'll help you manifest that. It's all good. All right, anybody have any questions about anything or about anything we've talked about? It's kind of weird, I have to say, for all you virtual people, it's kind of weird trying to help you guys at the same time as trying to kind of do stuff for the people here. So a lot of times when I do an event, it's a lot more interactive, and it's hard to do that when we're doing kind of both things at once. So for those of you guys who have been to my other events as well, it's hard to kind of wrap the two together. So hopefully you guys at home have been able to do a lot of the exercises, and hopefully you guys here have also been able to kind of get into it. The last thing I really want to talk about is trusting your gut, like in general, just trusting your gut. Paying attention to which way you feel pulled or which way you feel kind of driven. And, we talked a lot about how there's people who we can energetically meet. We can gain a lot of information off of those people. So now let's take it a step further and feel like, what way would your gut pull you? Would your gut pull you towards somebody or away from somebody? And if it pulls you towards somebody, why? Is it because they can do something for you, or is it because you need to do something for them? Or is it because you're going to partner up with them? So all these things that you could start thinking about from just that one reaction to them can kind of help take you down this road of being successful in your own business and what you're trying to do, creating a successful relationship, whether it's a personal relationship or a partnership in some way. And it can also help just kind of you to understand what they need. And figuring out what people need is a big part of being able to communicate with them and being able to kind of be successful in business together. And, because we are talking about intuition at work, and we're talking about trusting your gut to get ahead in business and in life, it's really important to kind of tune into that. So let's think about this for a second. If we were to have somebody come to us to sell us something, and we weren't sure about whether or not we knew what their product was. We didn't really know what it was. We didn't really know whether it was legit or not. But it was, inexpensive enough, and it was something that might be good for you. You might enjoy it. Maybe it was just like a, facial moisturizer, or, maybe it was something to like hold your book open while you were trying to read at night. So unlike me, it won't fall on your face when you're laying in bed trying to read. Something simple, right? Not expensive, something simple. But at the same time, you want to know whether this person is like legit, whether they're coming to you for a good reason, whether they're coming to you to kind of scam you, whether this product is going to work for you. One of the easiest ways to do that is to tap into your gut instincts. Do you want to run away screaming from them? Do you want to run towards them and hug them because they've just stopped you from bruising your face yet again because the book's not going to fall on you in the middle of the night because you've fallen asleep trying to read? Right? You have to start trusting your gut. And one of the best ways to do that is, again, through that energetic handshake, but also just paying attention to how you feel. So think about this. If I were to tell you, trying to think of a better example. It's hard to do this when we're not all in person. If I were to tell you that Patty, who's sitting in the back over there, that Patty was going to sell you something, how would you feel about that? How would it feel in your gut? Would you trust her?
She just said, "Oh God."
Yeah. Okay, she gave it away a little bit, but if Patty was trying to sell you something, would you trust her? You guys don't all know her. Not everybody here knows her. You guys on, the computer here or at home don't all know her. So would you trust her? Think about it. I would trust her. She can be really funny a lot of times. You're never quite sure whether she's being serious or not all the time. But deep down, you can feel that she's a good person, and I would trust her. I don't know about everybody else, but I would. And that's because I feel it in my gut. I feel it deep down inside. Okay. So what about you guys? You don't know Patty, right? Would you trust her? They're just saying yes because they're in the same room as her.
No, I've got a feeling in my heart.
She got a feeling in her heart.
I trust her because you trust her.
Oh, that's interesting. Alice just said, I trust her because you trust her and I trust you. Well, that's very nice.
And I immediately wanted to trust her because of her honesty.
Oh, and that also makes sense. Okay. So when you start to think about using your gut instincts, like using your gut to kind of get ahead and to understand, it makes it that much easier. If we don't trust our gut, if we don't trust our intuition, we always end up doing things that don't make us happy or that make us feel uncomfortable. So the bottom line is, when you trust your gut to get ahead in business and in life, it always works out much better for you than if you ignore it. And we're all intuitive. In some way or another, we all have this sense of intuition. We're all able to tap into it and to use it every day on a daily basis. And most of us do use it in some way, in some form or some shape or some way to help us get through life. And in the back there, you had originally said that you hear things more often, right? So we can hear things, we can see things. We may have one sense that's more prevalent than others. We may feel it in our gut. We may feel it cognitively. So all of a sudden we just know it. We may hear the answers to questions that we have or that we ask. But if we don't ask the questions of ourselves, if we don't ask to feel or to see or to know, we may not be able to tune in. So it's more important that you all believe that it's a possibility, and to believe in the knowledge that we are all intuitive and we all have that ability to tune in and to tap in anytime you want for any reason. And that we have the ability to manifest not only in our personal lives, but also in our professional lives, manifest the career we want, manifest the people that we need to be in business with, whether it's healing, whether it's finance, whether it's real estate, whether it's teaching, it doesn't matter. We need to tune into that intuition, to listen to what our vibes are telling us in order to get ahead and to feel better about everything that we do every day in every way. So I asked before, who thought that they were intuitive in some way? Not everybody raised their hands. So we're going to try it again. Now that we just did all this and people are kind of tuning into each other, who thinks that they're intuitive in some way? Interesting. Oh, I thought you were saying no. Okay, so hopefully you guys at home were all raising your hands as well, because you're all intuitive. We all have an intuitive vibe going on in ourselves and with other people. So use that intuition and it'll help you to get ahead in business and in life and help you to be a badass. And, you know, after all, that's what really matters. So thank you all.
And let me sign off on the Zoom.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. And I appreciate it. You guys, I appreciate you being here tonight and braving
Thank
the
you.
non-mask that I have.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you all for being here
Yes,
tonight.
thank
Thank you
you.
for signing in. It was just been a pleasure. There is a recording of tonight, so it'll be up on YouTube at some point tomorrow, and we have plenty of signed books. So one way or another, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank
It was a
you. Thanks,
pleasure.
Alice.
night, all.
Thanks,
You're
Mel.
welcome.
Good night.